freedom in ancient Rome came at a substantial cost. By law, slaves were considered property, objects to be bought, sold, punished, or freed. People became enslaved through military conquest, being born to enslaved parents, or falling into debt. Their fate depended not only on their master's will, but also on their own skills, usefulness, and ability to navigate the social system. Later in this video, you'll discover how some former slaves achieved such remarkable success that they even surpassed freeborn Romans in their achievements. Many slaves developed valuable crafts and trades, as shown by a preserved loaf of bread from Herculaneum that bears a slave baker's stamp. Some held respected positions within their masters' households or businesses, taking on roles that required significant expertise and trust. While many worked in fields or on construction sites, others served as doctors, librarians, teachers, and architects. In urban areas, slaves commonly managed shops and bathhouses, supervised other slaves, and handled financial transactions. Some slaves were allowed to control a peculium, a personal fund or property that legally belonged to the master but could be used by the slave. This peculium might include money, tools, clothing, or even land. By working on various crafts, slaves could earn and save extra income. Many eventually purchased their freedom by gradually building up their peculium. Imagine this: you're a slave, teaching Greek to your master's children. In your spare time, the master lets you tutor other students for money. The earnings go through him, but you're allowed to set aside a portion within your peculium. Step by step, that becomes your ticket out through a process called manumission, meaning literally a releasing from the hand. At first glance, it seems irrational. Why would the master let a slave earn enough to buy freedom? But they understood a slave who dreams of freedom works harder, protects the master's property, and shows initiative. Masters often set the price themselves and accepted payment in gradual installments. Additionally, manumitting a slave brought prestige by displaying both their generosity and wealth. A distinctive Roman practice involved placing removable metal collars on captured runaway slaves as a form of humiliation. Common inscriptions on these collars included phrases meaning, "Hold me, so I don't run away," or "because I've run away." The Romans preferred these removable collars over permanent marking methods to maintain the slave's hope for eventual freedom and preserve their resale value. The cost of manumission varied, depending on age, skills, profession, and the owner's disposition. The more qualified the slave, the higher the price. A literate scribe or physician could be worth many times more than a field worker. A laborer or porter might cost 2,000 to 5,000 sesterces. A skilled scribe, doctor, or teacher could cost between 10,000 to 20,000 sesterces or more. For context, a legionary earned around 1,200 sesterces per year, while a good donkey cost about 600 sesterces, and a loaf of bread cost around 2. The act of manumission was often staged as a legal fiction. The slave bought himself via a third party or a temple. Once registered, the slave became a libertus, a freedman. During the Roman Empire's peak, from the 1st to 3rd centuries CE, about 1 in 4 slaves could expect to be freed. The practice became so widespread that most free citizens in Rome likely had enslaved ancestors, leading some emperors, like Augustus, to limit manumissions to prevent social disruption. After being freed, former slaves gained many new rights, though not full citizenship. They could now get married, start their own businesses, and own property. While freedmen could not vote in political assemblies, their children were granted full citizenship rights. Freed women had more limited political and legal rights compared to freed men. A special form of manumission existed through marriage. In such cases, if a slave woman married, she would be freed, though she would still need her former master's approval for certain life decisions, unless she could prove his incompetence or violation of their agreement. While freed slaves still had to respect and help their former masters in some ways, their lives improved greatly. Some even became rich and important members of society. Some freedmen made history. Narcissus, once a slave of Emperor Claudius, became his trusted secretary. We know of him from the historian Suetonius. Another remarkable example was a former slave who became a successful theater owner. His name, Tragedus, can still be seen on dedicatory inscriptions from the theater in Ostia. Trimalchio, from Petronius's novel Satyricon, is based on real figures, wealthy ex-slaves with a taste for grandeur. Archaeology adds further proof. A remarkable example comes from Pompeii. The house of the Vetii, one of the largest and most impressive houses in the city, was owned by two freedmen brothers. Their home, decorated with elaborate frescoes and luxurious furnishings, demonstrates not just their considerable wealth, but also their achieved social status. In Pompeii, Herculaneum, and Ostia, archaeologists have uncovered numerous homes of freedmen, with lavish mosaics, private shops, and personal shrines. Numerous burial reliefs have also survived, showing freed slaves alongside their former masters as equals in elaborate family monuments. A clear sign that, difficult as it was, upward mobility was possible. Paradoxically, freeborn plebeians, though legally privileged, climbed the social ladder less often. Historians suggest they advanced 2 to 3 times less frequently than former slaves. Freedmen were often better prepared, skilled, experienced, well-connected through patrons, and highly motivated. Their starting point was harder, but their struggles made them more determined to succeed. They eat the same food as we do, suffer the same cold, and long for freedom just as we do, wrote Seneca, one of the great philosophers of early imperial Rome. When we look at the lives of Roman slaves, we're not just peering into the past. These stories reflect a broader human reality. Beneath the legal terms lie real people with fears, decisions, and ambitions. Nearly 2 millennia have passed, yet much in their emotional world still feels familiar. I don't wish to draw direct parallels to the present, but I believe many of the feelings Roman slaves experienced, the yearning for freedom, fear, pride, and hope, remain recognizable. They bring history closer, and the struggle for freedom, then as now, remains one of the most powerful stories we can tell.